Friends, in this class we will be learning the most important topic of the C programming, which will be helpful for you guys for any other programming language, that is functions. Functions are the most important and very useful concept in the C programming. We'll be learning the types of the functions, execution of the functions, and some example programs as well. Alright, so first, what's a function? In C, a large program can be divided into a number of smaller, complete and independent subprograms. Think of a program which is going to perform all the all the different arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus, everything. So if you're going to combine all those operations into a single program, the program is going to very big, right? So to avoid that file size and the complication in the program, we can divide the bigger program into smaller, complete and independent subprograms, right? So those are called the modules or the functions or subprograms, which makes the debugging easy and which reduces the complexity, and you can find it very useful also. So function is enclosed within a pair of curly braces, as we do with the main of function. Main is also a function enclosed within the curly braces, but we already given the name as main. Apart from the main function, we can also have our own user-defined functions as well, giving each a function name. These subprograms or functions are unique, identifiable, and they are meant for a special purpose, right? And each subprogram is called a module or a function. So in the big program, write a function for addition, write a function for subtraction, write a function for multiplication, and one for division, like all these. So each of this function is also called as a module, right? So this task is called modularization. So what is modularization? Dividing a big program into a smaller modules is called as a modularization. So there are two categories in functions. One is user-defined functions and the other one is library functions. So there are mainly two categories in the function. Library functions are those which are already in C standard library. Like we use printf function, scanf function, um, a clear screen function, string handling function, all these are C standard library functions. These are already defined and run by the programmers. Right, we are just going to call those function names and we get the functionality of those functions. That's it. We're not bothered about the code. They're already built in. They already are defined by the programmers, and we have got all those in the C standard library. We're going to only call those functions with their names and we get the work done. That's it. Apart from these functions, if we want any other extra tasks to be done, we should write our own functions, which are called as user-defined functions. So example for library functions are square root, power, string upper, printf, scanf, and etc. User-defined functions. So user-defined functions are not available in C library. User or we create the functions as and when we need them. So first I'll demonstrate how the library functions work. Already we have used many library functions like string upper, printf, and scanf. Let's go and find out these two square root and power functions, how they work. So friends, in this program I am to demonstrate two important library functions. One is square root, which returns the square root of a number. Another one is power of, uh, which can calculate power of any integer, right? So to achieve that, we should include an important header file which is called as math.h, which includes all the major mathematical built-in functions. So let's go and do that. Math.h, and here I'll start writing the code. So let's suppose I want to calculate the square root of a number, right? The square root of 25 is equal to %d, comma, here I'll pass the function which is sqrt. So this is the function which is going to calculate the square root of any integer given inside here. The square root of 25 0. Sorry, I made some mistake. Okay, so this should not be %d here. This should be %f for, yeah, %f will work. I think Control F9. Yeah, the square root of 25 is equal to 5 because the return type of this function is in the form of floating number, right? So the function doesn't know what number we pass, right? So then the function is ready for both the real numbers and integers, right? So the return type is in the form of %f. I mean, %f is the return type of this function, so we have to pass. So we have to specify %f here. So let us calculate for 49. So 49 is Control F9. So the square root of 49 is 7, right? So that's how we can achieve the square root function. So I'll just comment this statement here. Now let's find out the power of a number. So the power of 3 raised to 2 is equal to %f, comma, here we use the POW function, which stands for power. So the power of 3 raised to 2 is equal to 3 comma 2. So this is how we pass the parameters to this function. So 3 is the base number and 2 is the power of 3. Let's run this. So this means 3 into 3, we should expect 9. Oops, sorry for that. I should put, I misspelled the word printf here. So we should expect Control F9. So the power of 3 raised to 2 is 9. So that is what we have expected, right? So these are the examples for library functions. So user-defined functions are not available in C library user, or we create the functions as and when we need them. So here is an example of main function without any function, right? So this is the void main of. So by this you can know that this is the main function without any subprogram or function, right? So this will print just a message telling welcome to Ankpro training, right? So now we'll see main function with a function. So void welcome is a function here. It is a user defined function. But why we have semicolon here? Because this is not the function definition, this is function declaration. So this is also called as the function prototype. That means function name, return type, and everything is declared first, because that is the way to tell the compiler that you may that you are going to expect this function later in the program. So this is the function declaration. So we must declare a function before we are going to define it, right, as we do with the variables. So here I'm starting the main function with a clear screen and welcome function call here, right? So this is the main function. So in the main function, inside the main function, we have the function call to welcome, like we do with the square root function. And this is the welcome function definition. So void welcome is a function, is a separate unit apart from this main function, right? So these are the two independent units, but the link of this function is inside the main. Welcome is the function call to this function, right? So this will print a simple message telling welcome to Ankpro training, right? So whenever the compiler comes to this line, the compiler will understand that it is going to expect the welcome function later in the program, and whenever it reaches this statement welcome, just the welcome without any return type, so it is recognizes as the function call to this function, and compiler comes to this place and executes whatever code inside, and return, this means this function is returning 0 to the calling function. Which is the calling function? Main is the calling function, right? So here it is, the control comes back to this place and get ch will execute, right? So these are the two functions, which is as an example for user defined function, right? So multi-function, we can also have the multi-function program, like we can have more than one function, like demonstrated here. Function call 1, function call 2, function call 3 for these independent functions. So this is the main function containing only the function calls to those functions, right? Function call 1 is executed and control is passed to the definition of function 1 and control 2 and the function, and when the and control 2 passed to the function 2 when the function call 2 is expected, and function 3 also executed at this place, right? So this is an example of how we can achieve the functions.